What's up, Chaos Shinobi here. This is what if Naruto was a neglected prodigy. Summary: Naruto was neglected and abandoned by his parents since birth. Living in the shadow of his Jinchuriki sister, Naruto is forced to grow up and rise up to become one of the strongest shinobi to exist. Chapter 7. Who you calling a brat, old man? Naruto retorted. I mean, just look at them, Tazuna said as he eyed the kids. You should not fear Tazuna. These children are very capable. They were taught by quite qualified jonin, Minato said calmly. It doesn't change the fact that they're just brats, Tazuna said after a pause. Do not underestimate them. Alright everyone, go pack supplies for the trip. You'll have 2 hours before you meet up with Tazuna by the gates, Minato said. See you around or whatever, Tazuna said boredly, then left the office. I'd like to speak with you, Naruto, Minato said when he noticed everyone leaving. Naruto stopped, but he didn't turn to him. What's up with everyone wanting to speak with the Dobi in private? Sasuke whispered to Naruto, but she ignored him as they left the office. Well, could you turn around, Naruto? Minato asked. Naruto turned to the Hokage and looked at him with an unreadable expression. How goes your training with your mother? Minato asked carefully. It's well, Hokage-sama. Kushina-sensei has taught me the basics, Naruto said emotionlessly, but he did make a point to emphasize their names. He didn't want his father getting too comfortable around him. The man had no right to feel content after abandoning him. Minato had to refrain himself from flinching at Naruto's cold tone. Kushina had told him that Naruto had never called her Ka-san, and Minato knew how that affected her. She can put on a strong front, but Minato knew it was tearing her apart. That's good to hear. I heard that she's even teaching you some jutsu to add to your arsenal. Minato was trying his best to get a glimpse of what Naruto felt towards him, but Naruto's expression gave nothing away. Only wind-based techniques. Is there a reason I'm here, Hokage-sama? I still have to pack for the mission, Naruto said evenly. Actually yes, I wanted to offer you something. It is your birthright and as your father. Minato finally got a reaction as soon as he said the last part. Anger. It is my duty to teach you the Rasengan. It's my very own special tech. I refuse. What? Minato was stupefied. He thought Naruto would at least be interested in the prospect of learning something from him. He was Hokage. DCH, how dare you? After everything that's happened to me, you still have the audacity to act oblivious to it all? Naruto struggled not to shout. No, son, don't call me that. You are not my father. Kushina-sensei is not my mother. How can you even call yourself such? How can you still think of yourselves as my parents when you left me in hell? Naruto asked incredulously. It was truly weird for him, and it only made him angrier. He was still conflicted on his feelings towards Kushina, but he certainly did not like Minato at all. Minato looked down. The truth really hurt, but that's what he gets for leaving Naruto with people who betrayed him. I'm sorry. No, I don't want your apology. Sometimes sorry just doesn't cut it, Naruto said coldly. Minato still didn't want to lose Naruto as a son. He loved him and it was really hard for him to deal with this whole mess, especially with the truth of what happened to Naruto for 12 years being repeatedly shoved in his face. He realized that he never actually made a conscious effort to be there for Naruto, and that hurt more than anything. The guilt he was feeling was indescribable. No matter what he did, he would always be looked at as a horrible father, not by the villagers, but anyone else. This wasn't about some sort of disgusting pride that came with being a parent. He loved Naruto, plain and simple, and this was as bad for him as it was for his son. I've wasted enough time here. Good day, Hokage-sama, Naruto said as he made to leave. I'm so sorry, Sochi. I know it isn't enough and I know that we don't deserve your forgiveness, but please give us a chance to fix our mistakes. We failed you as parents, we know that. We are terrible parents. Not a day goes by where I don't agree. We're just so regretful of what happened, Sochi, and will do anything to make it up to you. We love you, Minato pleaded his case. It didn't mean much, but he needed to let Naruto know that they were really sorry. Love? Well, you sure have a way of showing me how much you love me when you left me with a bunch of strangers and took Naruto with you, Naruto said critically. Minato had to admit, the way Naruto had said that made it seem 10 times worse. He could tell that Naruto thought they chose favorites that night. No, that was far from it. We didn't take Naruto because we loved her more than you. We took her because we were running out of time. We love you both equally. It was a hard decision for me and your mother, Minato said. It was most difficult for Kushina of all. She refused to leave Naruto and it took Jiraiya, Tsunade and himself to convince her that it was the only way. She did concede in the end, but she always had her doubts. That's why she was taking it so hard. She felt like she failed Naruto in the worst way possible, which was unfortunately true. Minato could tell that Kushina was an emotional wreck. The mother was always trying to figure out ways she could make up to her son, whether it was with training or quality time. Minato had to admit, he had never seen Kushina like this before. He had never seen her fall into such deep desperation. She was desperate for anything with Naruto. What the hell? Hard decision? Why the hell did you have to choose anyone? Naruto screamed angrily. Oh, that's right, he didn't know about the Kyuubi attack, Minato realized. I guess I'll have to tell you. It's the least I can do for you, Minato said as he brushed his hair with his hand. Naruto looked at the Hokage wearily. Like I have the time to hear your excuses. I have to go on a mission. Naruto slammed the door shut. Well, I could have handled that better, Minato muttered. Naruto was waiting by the gate. He was packed and ready to go. The only to wait for now would be for the rest to show up. His parents just couldn't give him a break. It was not something he liked. It's as if all they could do annoy him to no end. At least his mother Kushina-sensei respected his space and did not force herself on him unless it was necessary. He could admit that he could see on a number of occasions the inner turmoil that Kushina was going through, and that really scared him. Great, you're here, Tazuna muttered as he made his way to the gate. He did not like this, even if it was supposed to happen. Taking kids with them was very dangerous. DCH. Naruto folded his arms and stared ahead of him. He had way too many problems than to deal with a drunk. Not long after that the other Jonin joined the duo at the gate. It was a normal affair with Sasuke trying and failing, on many occasions, to sway Naruto to the Uchiha image. They were all waiting impatiently for their Jonin senseis. After some time their wait was over. Good morning everyone, Kushina greeted with a forced smile. She was still a bit distraught after dealing with Jiraiya. His very name just filled her with so much rage. She was furious at his neglecting of her child. His suffering was far from finished, however she had her children to think about. Minato had refused to involve her in this mission at first, but she would hear none of it. This would be the first mission her children would be away from Konoha. She had to put up a strong front, no need to worry everyone around her. Where's Kakashi-sensei? Sakura asked confusedly. Yeah. I would have thought that we were going with him alone, Naruto said. He didn't mean to say it like that, Kushina reassured herself. He may not like her as a parent, but he was still giving her some chance to be around him. It wasn't much, but she was willing to take anything she could. Yo, Kakashi greeted from atop a tree. How long have you been there? Sasuke asked. Since Naruto came here, Kakashi said with an eye smile. Naruto frowned at that. He did not detect any trace of Kakashi, which meant that he still needed a lot of work if he was ever going to become Hokage. Team 7 took the response in stride. They all began their journey to Wave Country. It was uneventful for the most part, but the rookies were making do with what they had. Hey, Sasuke-kun, Sakura started. Sasuke just looked at her expectantly. Will you like me more if I became stronger? Sakura asked tentatively. I'd like you more if you just leave me alone, Sasuke dismissed without a second thought. Sakura's shoulders sagged. You know, you shouldn't have to go to such lengths to impress someone you like, Naruto said indifferently. What do you know? Sakura fumed. For starters you're a kunoichi, and the one main objective is to become great at what you do. Love will follow soon enough, but to have little regard for your profession when it could lead to your death and to focus on trivial matters is not how a kunoichi betters herself, Kushina cut. She was getting a little irritated with their constant squabbles. You know Naruto-chan, I have a lot to offer. I'm quite the package, Sasuke boasted. Kami, what is wrong with you? Are they always like that? Tazuna raised an eyebrow at the other two adults. It's pretty much expected at this point, Kakashi supported. You sure know how to pick 'em, Tazuna said sarcastically. We do, don't we? Kakashi said. The journey continued on and the group had to battle the demon brothers on their way to Wave Country. It was relatively easy for the two Jonin senseis to completely overpower the brothers. They interrogated them and in the end found out the real reason for Tazuna's need for them. The mission had suddenly become more dangerous. Kushina wanted to end it right there, but she was overruled by her Jonin, and she relented in the end. What's a mother do too? They were being a lot more careful since the discovery of the real reason behind the mission, but even it could not help against the unexpected. Once we arrive at Wave I want full details on what exactly is happening around there. No secrets, you hear me? Kushina said seriously. Yeah. Tazuna can admit it now, Kushina was a very intimidating woman when she wanted to be. Naruto was staring ahead of him when he caught the sight of something near some bushes. He quickly threw a kunai, making the entire group alert and ready for battle. After some tense seconds a white rabbit jumped out of the bushes and hopped like an animal possessed, away from the group. It was just a rabbit. You really are a loser, Sasuke scoffed at Naruto. Naruto scowled and was about to defend her brother, but she was cut off with one command. Everyone get down. Kushina screamed and no sooner did she say that a huge sword sliced through the air, narrowly missing the group's heads. Damn it. A man with bandages covering the lower half of his face emerged from the bushes. Kakashi and Kushina regarded the man warily, but it was Kakashi who concluded the man's identity. Zabuza Momochi, Kakashi said seriously. Kakashi Hitake, Konoha's copy ninja. I don't know you though, Zabuza said as he eyed the red-headed woman. Then it's best that it's kept that way, Kushina said. She at least had a few advantages to this situation. Kakashi knew Zabuza. She hoped enough and the enemy didn't know her. Zabuza shrugged and then inclined his head to his sword. Excuse me while I take my blade from that tree. I don't think so, Kushina said curtly. How else am I supposed to kill that old man? Zabuza said as he pointed at Tazuna. You won't be killing anyone on our watch, Zabuza, Kakashi said. You're mistaken, Hitake. I came here to kill the bridge builder. If I have to go through you all then that's exactly what I'm going to do, Zabuza said seriously. Kids, get out of here, Kushina commanded. No way. This is my first mission and you want us to run away? Hell no, Naruto shouted angrily. This is no time for that. I'm ordering you to leave now, Kushina said with finality. I have to admit, that kid can make a great distraction, Zabuza said nonchalantly as he pried his sword from the tree it was lodged in. Damn it, Kushina cursed under her breath for being so careless to get distracted. Well, since you won't get out of my way then I got no choice, lady. Zabuza summoned 2 water clones. I have to kill you all. 2 of Zabuza's clones went for Kakashi and Kushina respectively while the real Zabuza went after Tazuna himself. Nothing personal, old man. That's just how life is, I guess, Zabuza said as he readied his finishing blow. He was stopped however, by rock hitting the back of his head. He looked to who threw the rock and saw an irate blonde boy looking at him furiously. You're not harming him on my watch, Naruto shouted. Nissan, we have to get out of here, Naruto said nervously. Hell no. I didn't become a shinobi to just run away from battle. I can beat him by myself, Naruto said as he charged at the missing nin. Stupid Dobi's gonna get himself killed, Sasuke said and he surprised his teammates by rushing after Naruto. Naruto soon followed suit and all 3 were heading for Zabuza. Sakura was too scared to do any of that. All she could do was look around and try to figure out a way to help if possible. I'm warning you kids. Stay out of my way and you'll live to tell the tale, Zabuza said while narrowing his eyes at the Jinan. Naruto went for a punch, but Zabuza just swatted his hand away and kneed the blonde in the stomach, causing him to double over in pain. Naruto tried using her speed to get a surprise attack on the missing nin, however Zabuza intercepted and threw the girl to some nearby trees, which she hit rather harshly. Sasuke tried to create a fire jutsu, but Zabuza was faster and created a water jutsu that swept the Uchiha Prodigy away. Zabuza returned his gaze to the blonde knucklehead. He felt for the kid, but he had a job to do and these kids didn't heed the warning of a criminal. He took a small container and poured a little of its contents on his sword and then put the container away again. I warned you to stay out of my way. Now you had to force my hand. Maybe killing you will make a point to your comrades, Zabuza said as he raised his sword into the air. Naruto lay on his side, clutching his stomach. Zabuza really hurt him, and now Naruto knew how powerful a shinobi Zabuza might be. He couldn't move. The pain was too much for his body and all he could do was wheeze as Zabuza stood over him. It's unfortunate that you have to die so young, but so is the life of a shinobi. The poison will make it more enjoyable for me, so you won't suffer too long. What can I say, I'm a nice guy. Zabuza brought the sword down to finish the blonde. Nissan, Naruto cried out when she finally regained consciousness, but she was too far to move and save her brother from the impending attack. Naruto closed his eyes and prepared for death's embrace. It seemed like his life was unfair to the very end. Abandoned by his parents. Attacked by so many villagers. Finding out that he had parents when he spent most of his life thinking that they died or left him to rot and be forgotten. Well, the last one was partly true. Now, he was about to meet his end in the worst way possible. He wasn't going to die as a hero, but as a nobody who had a shit of a life. Memories of his harsh childhood flashed in his head and he couldn't stop his heart clenching at the images. His life was truly miserable till his death. He heard a squelch, indicating that Zabuza's blade had most probably sliced something. But he didn't feel any pain. He felt some droplets of something fall on his face and slowly opened his eyes. As soon as he had a good look at what happened his eyes shot wide open. Kushina was over him, the blade on her shoulder was unbearably painful and she flinched when she felt the harsh metal sink into her flesh. Zabuza was quite shocked to see the red-headed woman recklessly risk her life without pause. She left his clone and immediately put her body on the line for the blonde child. Kakashi used that opportunity to destroy the water clones and attack Zabuza quickly. The missing nin quickly dislodged his blade from Kushina's shoulder and focused on the copy nin. Kushina breathing was slightly haggard. She could feel the poison slowly making its way through her system and her body was starting to feel numb. The pain on her shoulder intensified and she put a hand on the wound to try and stop the blood flow. She could do little else, her limbs were refusing to follow her commands. Even so, she did her best to put up a strong front. "Hey," she softly whispered to Naruto. Naruto was looking at her in shock. It hadn't quite registered to him what exactly happened. All he did was stare, stone-faced. "Are you okay, Naruto?" Kushina asked in concern. That snapped him out of his stupor. He looked at Kushina and analyzed her shoulder carefully. There was a nasty cut and he mentally winced. It must have been really painful. Kakashi was still dealing Zabuza. After a while he finally had the upper hand with the assistance of Naruto and Sasuke. But before they could finish Zabuza they were all interrupted by a hunter nin who claimed to be after Zabuza Momochi. They let the nin take him and immediately turned their attention back to the kneeling woman and her son. Kushina sighed in relief when she saw Zabuza taken by the hunter nin. She doubted that she could have been of any assistance. Her body was starting to feel like lead. "Kasan?" Naruto called softly as she made her way to her mother. "I'll be fine." Kushina dropped next to her son with a dull thud. "Kasan." That was the last thing Kushina heard before her world turned black. They were able to make it to Tazana's home in record time. Kakashi took Kushina all the way. When they arrived Kushina was treated and put to bed. Tsunami made sure to look after the woman in her time of need, but there was little she could do for Kushina. "How is she?" Kakashi asked as he made his way into the room Kushina was using. "She isn't good. She has a high fever and her breathing is short and labored. I'm not a medical ninja so I'm not sure how to deal with the poison. With the limited resources we have here in Wave, I doubt we could get a cure in time. I'll need to contact someone to possibly treat her, but with Wave on edge I can't be sure if we can find anyone that will be willing to help," Tsunami said as she eyed Kushina's prone form. "Just great." Kakashi knew that things were bad, but he needed to find a way to help Kushina before it was too late. He looked at Kushina. Her face looked very much troubled, even in her state of unconsciousness. "I will go see a contact to help her tomorrow," Tsunami said after a pause. "I'll come with you for protection," Kakashi offered. "That would be lovely Kakashi-san," Tsunami said with a smile. Kakashi went out of the room and saw Naruto. "Is she okay?" Naruto asked worriedly. "Don't worry. We'll do everything we can," Kakashi told the girl. The worried frown did not leave the young Namikaze's face, but she nodded her head. "Where is everyone else?" Kakashi asked curiously. "They're outside," Naruto said. "Doing what?" Kakashi asked with a raised eyebrow. "Tree walking," Naruto shrugged and then her shoulders sagged. "I really hope she'll get better." "Don't lose that hope," Kakashi said with an eye smile and passed the girl. Naruto lingered a while longer by her mother's room and then decided to follow Kakashi. Kakashi walked to the backyard of the house and saw a glimpse of the child named Inari, hiding in some bushes as Sakura and Sasuke continued their training. He ignored the kid and focused on his students. Ever since Kushina forced him to train his Jonan, Kakashi was glad that he took her words to heart. They may have had their differences, but his students were slowly starting to take their training seriously. But there was still one Jonan missing. "Where's Naruto?" Kakashi asked. Sakura briefly stopped her exercise and looked at her sensei. "He went into the forest." "Don't know exactly where," Sakura shrugged her shoulders and then continued her tree-walking exercise. Kakashi sighed when he heard that. Naruto had been completely quiet after Zabuza's attack and he would briefly look at his unconscious mother before looking away in, what Kakashi had to guess, complete bewilderment. "Kakashi-san." Tsunami called from the door to the backyard. Kakashi looked back at the woman and saw her worried frown. This was not good. Meanwhile Naruto was going aimlessly around the woods in deep thought. Kushina saved his life. The thought was still shocking. It felt strange. It felt warm to know that someone would put their life on the line for his own. He never expected anything like this given his childhood. No one would ever protect the demon brat, so for Kushina to do it made it very difficult for him to find fault in her actions. His mind was a tirade of emotions, happiness, comfort, disgust, loathing. Why did she have to do that? Why did she have to make it so hard for him to keep loathing her presence? Why was it always so difficult for him in particular? He let out an angry sigh. He was worried about her. He couldn't fight off the feeling. The thought of her dying, because she saved him, was a very uncomfortable prospect. To top it off he was ordered to flee, and he disobeyed out of anger and frustration of being pushed around by his mother and the possibility that he would never partake in a dangerous mission. He endangered all his comrades and he felt bad that Kushina had to be the casualty for his mistakes. A part of him found some sort of sick glee in seeing the all-so-powerful Namikaze put down a peg. Let her feel pain. Let her suffer in any way that she could for leaving him behind. Another part of him however, was worried sick about his mother. chastising him for carelessly acting out. He didn't want Kushina to die. Even after all the suffering he went through, he didn't believe death to be some sort of justice or revenge. She may have abandoned him, but he would never wish her death. His train of thought stopped when he spotted someone picking up flowers and plants. Oh, hello. The person was a girl with long black hair, wearing a casual kimono which had no sleeves. Hi, Naruto said distractedly and then looked at the girl's basket. What are doing? Naruto asked. The girl looked at the ground and then at Naruto again. Well, I'm picking plants, the girl said. Why? Naruto needed something to distract himself and he was a bit curious. The girl bit her lip. To make medicine for a friend, the girl said after a while. Oh, Naruto said awkwardly. Well, the distraction was over and his mind strayed back to his mother. Is something wrong? The girl asked as she continued to pick various plants off the ground. No, it's okay. It's my problem, Naruto said with a frown. Sometimes it helps to talk to someone. I can keep a secret, the girl reassured. It would seem weird to trust a complete stranger with one's problems. The girl seemed nice though, so Naruto gave it a shot. Well, my sensei's sick, Naruto said after a pause. He missed the girl momentarily stiffening after he said those words. The girl looked hesitant for a moment and then asked, is it anything serious? Yeah, she was poisoned, Naruto said softly. There was a long pause after that, and Naruto had half a mind to just say his goodbyes and leave. But the girl cut in. I make a lot of medicine. Maybe I can help, the girl suggested. You can? Naruto asked in surprise. I might be able to, if you can tell me the symptoms, the girl replied. Well, she was breathing a lot and her face was red. I don't know anything else, Naruto said frustratedly. How did she get the poison? The girl asked. She was cut on the shoulder, Naruto said. He expected more questions but was surprised when the girl pulled out a small bottle from a pouch. This should work for most poison that has entered the body through exposed flesh or open wounds. I'm quite sure this is the right one to deal with your problem. Your sensei must drink everything. It will forcibly release the poison from your sensei's system. Be warned, she will have a heavy fever with a lot of sweating. That will be indication that the serum is working. Afterwards she should be as good as new, the girl said as handed him the small bottle. Are you sure this will work? Naruto asked warily. He knew that he didn't give enough detail about the poison to know exactly what they were dealing with. Besides, this could make things worse. I'm positive it will work. By the way, my name is Haku, Haku said with a smile. I'm Naruto Uzumaki, Naruto said. It was nice to meet you, Naruto-san, Haku said as she started walking away. Wait, Naruto said, but the girl was already gone. He lingered there for a while longer and analyzed things. He had no choice. There was just little anyone could do and this was the only option he had. He was a person for taking gambles, but he was still a bit wary of this one. He resolved to follow his gut and made a dash to Tezuna's home. He burst through the door and raced to Kushina's room. He stopped when he heard voices inside. We need to leave now. Her condition is getting worse, he heard Tsunami say. How long will it take us to get help and come back? Kakashi asked. I'm not sure, but we don't have much of a choice, Tsunami said. Naruto took that as his cue and barged into the room with a bottle. I can help, Naruto said hurriedly. Naruto? What are you doing? Kakashi sighed. I got the cure, Naruto said. What are you talking about? Kakashi asked with a frown. Naruto didn't answer and made his way to his mother. He lifted the bottle, but before he could do anything else Kakashi grabbed his wrist. What is this? Kakashi asked suspiciously as he eyed the bottle. Let me go. This will help her. Naruto protested. Where did you get it? Kakashi continued to ignore the blonde's protests. Kakashi. Let him go, Kushina rasped out tiredly. Everyone looked at her wide-eyed. This was the first she was awake ever since the attack and it still looked like she was struggling to remain conscious. Kakashi was too shocked to move, so Naruto wrenched his arm out of the Kopinen's grip. He went up to his mother. It will get rid of the poison, Naruto said quietly. Kushina nodded slowly. What do I have to do? Kushina-sama, you can't. I trust him. Kushina cut through in pain. It was getting harder to even speak. Naruto was surprised to hear that, but then decided to focus on the task at hand. He helped Kushina to sit up. She flinched a number of times from the pain and offered her the bottle carefully. Kushina started drinking the serum. After she was finished Naruto helped her lay down. You're gonna get a bad fever soon, but after that you should be fine, Naruto said. Kushina nodded and then closed her eyes. Naruto, Kakashi started. I got it from a person who knows poisons, Naruto said. You can't just trust anyone you meet. Kakashi admonished. What else could I do? By the time you and Tsunami got back from that person you're trying to find then it could already be too late, Naruto said irritably. There's no point in arguing. What's done is done. I will stay by Kushina's side to see if there is any progress. You two need to leave her in peace, Tsunami said. Kakashi and Naruto left the room. But Kakashi was far from finished. I'm very disappointed in you, Naruto, Kakashi said. Up yours. I should be saying the same thing to you. I know how close you are to my parents. Disappointed? Well, get used to it, you freaking hypocrite. Naruto fumed and then left a gobsmacked Kakashi in the corridor. Kakashi was shocked to the core. How did Naruto find out? It was late into the night and Naruto was sleeping on the living room sofa. He kept on shifting around. His face held discomfort. All he could see was black. It felt like he was falling. Just as suddenly he felt his body hit water. His eyes shot open and he stood on his feet. He looked around. This was not Tazana's home. It was a sewer. He was familiar with places like this because he had to use some sewers to hide from village attacks. He looked down and saw water that was knee-high. He looked up and could see a lot of pipes on the walls and ceiling. That's when he heard it. It was faint at first, but he could suddenly pick up little tremors that resembled breathing. He wondered what on earth could have caused that. He looked ahead and could see a path which was leading to somewhere. With little choice, and curiosity at its peak, he ventured deeper into the sewer. He approached an entrance and felt the trembling on the ground increase dramatically. This was very weird. He was very much aware of his surroundings for this to be a mere dream. Once he walked into the space he saw, what he had to admit, the largest cage-like structure that he ever laid his eyes on. On the other side of the cage was complete darkness. Then he saw a mouth form from within the darkness and something akin to a yawn. A rumbling earth tremor filled the room and Naruto was suddenly gazing into two blazing blood-slitted eyes that bored into his very being. So. The voice was so deep and heavy that it shook the room. Blood-red eyes analyzed the blonde for a brief moment and then the beast continued, my jailer decided to grace me with his presence and pay me a visit. Naruto stared into blood-red eyes in trepidation. Whatever was in there was huge, hell its eyes looked bigger than his body. He stood his ground however. If that thing in the cage would attack him then he'd rather die fighting than submit to being a coward. Knuckle headed to the end. Oh come on, the voice boomed, although it did not seem to have shouted the words. I can literally smell the fear emitting from your body. Naruto glared defiantly at the huge clouded figure. Where the hell am I? Who the hell are you? Naruto questioned. Oh, so he finally speaks. The thing sounded amused, and that made Naruto grit his teeth in anger. Hey, you stupid moron. Where the hell am I? And who are you, huh? Naruto shouted angrily. Who am I? Take a guess. This thing was playing with him and Naruto was anything but amused. You know what? Screw you. I'm outta here. Naruto fumed as he looked back to the path he came from. But before he could move the figure continued on. Ha ha ha. You're such a brat. Okay, how about I give you a little riddle to figure out who I am, the figure suggested. Naruto looked into red eyes in disbelief. What the hell? What's red, has 9 tails, and attacked Konoha 12 years ago? The figure questioned. Naruto squinted his eyes. Well, he wounded up here so he might as well participate. His sense of logic was overruled by a 12-year-old's curiosity. At first he didn't understand what the riddle meant, but it didn't take long for him to piece everything together, especially with the clue of 9 tails, and his eyes widened dramatically. Kyuubi, he whispered in horror. The 9-tailed fox was a popular subject in the academy and many were told of its malicious and destructive power. Something did not make sense however. Got it in one go. I'm genuinely surprised. Well, that was only half true. The Kyuubi wasn't that shocked that Naruto figured out its identity. I mean the clues were pretty much straightforward. Naruto glared at the fox. He was not stupid and he felt insulted at the Kyuubi's jab. Does this mean I'm dead? Naruto inquired with gritted teeth. It only made sense that he was met with death. The fox was killed by his father, which meant he had joined it in the afterlife. Oh how I wish for that. But sadly you are not one of the departed. Kyuubi looked bored, as if it suddenly dawned on it who exactly it was talking to. Then where am I? Naruto asked in confusion. If he wasn't dead then, what? This is getting tedious quite quickly. I'll summarize it for you. You are in your mindscape, more vaguely your mind. I was sealed into you the day you were born by your father to stop my murderous rampage, which wasn't really my doing mind you. And I've lived in this cage for the past 12 years. You can understand that, can't you? Kyuubi inquired lazily with a scratch to its head. That revelation did very little to dwindle Naruto's questions, but it did clear quite a few others. This was the reason that he was the village pariah, scorned and hated. How could Minato do this to him, above everything else? He looked at the cage and saw the little paper with the seal on it. This was unfair. He could admit to hating his parents now. After everything he had been through, this had to be the worst revelation to date. Not only did they leave him to rot, but they left him with the full knowledge that he had a Baijuu within him. He tried to bite back the angry tears, but to no avail. His body was shaking with unbridled rage. Fuck this. Fuck the world. If this was how life was going to treat him, then he had enough of it. What was the point of trying to be Hokage when all the villagers saw him as the fox? What was the point of being a shinobi when he was stuck with a woman that he refused to see as a mother? What was the point of living when there was no reason to? He just could not take it anymore. For goodness sake. Enough of the waterworks already. Your life sucks. Get over it. Naruto fixed his glare at the towering fox. You ruined my life. Casting the blame on me won't change a thing. Like I said before, it was beyond my power what happened on that day. The fox raised an eyebrow at the hatred radiating from the child. It was obvious that the boy was not listening to reason anymore. Still angry? What are you gonna do? Fight me? I wouldn't recommend that. If I end up killing you, then we would both die. Do yourself a favor and find a nice quiet corner to drown in your sorrows. Your life is pathetic enough. Don't look for sympathy from me. Kyuubi did not even flinch in its verbal assault. So that's what it's come to. Naruto's vision turned red with overflowing anger. I'm going to kill you. No matter what. I'm going to make sure that you die. Ha. Compared to your failure of a battle with that missing nin individual, then you can bet I don't expect much from you. Naruto formed the familiar hand seal with his fingers. Kage Bunshin no Jutsu. 200 shadow clones suddenly appeared, all with the same clouded rage. Kyuubi expected them to charge at it but was a little surprised when they split and formed a half circle around the cage. The Naruto in the middle walked forward with his arm drawn back. Wind quickly started to gather around his hand. All the other clones proceeded to do the same. Fuuten, Senpuken. All Narutos shot their fists forward and a huge gust of power wind struck the surprised Kyuubi's face with so much force that the fox actually stumbled on its footing. Naruto quickly unsealed 2 kunai and a few shuriken. He quickly charged at the fox at a remarkably fast pace. He charged at the dazed fox and threw his weapons, striking the fox on the side of its face. Naruto grinned, but his victory tragically ended when it was made obviously clear that the Kyuubi's face had not even been scratched. The Kyuubi slowly got to its feet and looked at the tiny child in annoyance. Kyuubi had to admit, the boy caught it off guard with his attack. It also realized that Naruto was inside the cage, but ultimately made no attempt to attack him. Kushina taught you a little more than I gave her credit for. Kyuubi rolled its eyes when it saw the confusion of the blonde. Come of it. Do you really think that I wouldn't be aware of everything that has been happening in your pitiful life? I would have added my own piece if it wasn't for this seal. If I can find a way out of here, then I would make sure to eat you out of your misery. Ah! Naruto screamed and charged at the beast with the intent to kill. You're still remarkably weak. Kyuubi frowned and looked down at Naruto, who was trying and failing to slash its gigantic leg. Too weak for me to even face in a human form. Human form? Like you can even do that, you bastard. Naruto screeched as he continued to attack the Kyuubi's left leg. I'm created out of pure chakra. With that comes the ability to mold myself into anything I wish. I'm a fox because I find those creatures intriguing and clever. The Nine Tails asserts my dominance as the most powerful of the 9 Baijuu. Kyuubi yawned as it watched the boy continue to attack in his rage-induced state. Bring it on, bastard. Naruto challenged as he created a distance from the fox, albeit a minuscule amount. Kyuubi looked at the boy in irritation. It was really starting to lose its patience. Begone with you, before my temper flares. I ain't going anywhere until you're dead. He flipped the Kyuubi off. Stupid retarded fox. Kyuubi knew that Naruto was goading it to commence battle. The Kyuubi could not help but shake its head. Naruto was a bit stronger than it originally realized, but his ability still paled in comparison to its. Adding to the fact that Naruto was not in his right state of mind, then it would be understandable why he was spewing anything hateful that came to mind. Oh well, the Kyuubi thought, it did warn him. A large cloud of burning red chakra surrounded the fox. Naruto quickly jumped backwards to avoid the heat and watched in amazement as a huge ball of chakra formed right in front of him. After some time the ball started to shrink, slowly forming a humanoid silhouette. As soon as it reached the required size and shape, the burning chakra dissipated. In its place stood a very nude and very attractive red-headed girl, who had blood-red eyes, plump pink lips, a developing body and looked no older than Naruto himself. Naruto did a double take when he saw what was in front of him. A huge blush formed as he proceeded to cover his eyes. You're a girl? Naruto sputtered out incredulously. His poor 12-year-old mind could not comprehend what just transpired. Your limited understanding of chakra still astonishes me to date. Kyuubi scoffed, a scowl dawning over her delicate features. I told you that I am made of pure chakra. I can turn into anything I wish. I don't have a gender, but I may choose to wield any sex I see fit. To emphasize her point, she turned herself into a very handsome male, with short red hair and an angular face, who was still nude. "Put on some clothes already," Naruto shouted out as he witnessed the transformation. He had no qualms with seeing a boy naked. He was a shinobi, but the thing that was in front of him was not a boy at all. He refused to view the Kyuubi as anything other than a fox, but that didn't mean he wasn't aware of modesty. "My goodness. You really have issues, boy," Kyuubi said as he clicked his fingers and a standard kimono covered his body. "I got issues? What the hell? I'm not the one having sex changes," Naruto shouted. This coming from a boy who developed a jutsu that gives the wielder the illusion of a female. Kyuubi inquired non-committedly. "Shut up, you damn fox. That's different," Naruto yelled in anger. "Whatever you say, kid." "You're a kid too." Naruto shot back and then frowned confusion. "You look like my age?" Kyuubi rolled his eyes again. "One of the drawbacks of being here is the fact that I have only technically been alive for 12 years. Although I am able to retain my fox form at its maximum, every other form requires me to accommodate the age with a suitable body." Naruto just stared at the other boy. "Still don't get it? Well, it's not your fault that you're stupid. Or maybe it is," Kyuubi goaded cynically. Naruto's anger flared and he glared at Kyuubi with hatred. "Now, I believe you said something about killing me?" Kyuubi stretched his left arm and a sword quickly formed in his hand. "Let's see what you got." Naruto stared at the Kyuubi seriously. He was still furious at the fox and his shit of a life. He made up his mind. His life was practically over anyway. He was going to end it here and take that damn fox with him. He put as much chakra into his feet and shot, like a bullet, to Kyuubi. Kyuubi managed to narrowly dodge the attack and quickly turned to regard the boy. My, that was very fast," Kyuubi said evenly. Naruto quickly charged again with a kunai in hand. He aimed for the Kyuubi's face, but the Kyuubi blocked the attack with little to no effort. "So that's all Kushina has taught you? One jutsu and a minimal increase in speed? Well, I guess it's understandable with the period of time that you had, but I was hoping for better," Kyuubi said scoldingly. He was surprised when he felt harsh wind hit his back and violently flew a few feet away from the blonde before hitting the ground with a harsh thud. Kyuubi quickly got to his feet and finally noticed something he had forgotten. "Your cage bunshine are still here?" Kyuubi briefly assessed the damage and was surprised to see a lot of cuts on his back. "Not bad. You caught me by surprise. I wonder why you weren't as strategic when you were facing the missing nin." Naruto tried to take advantage of Kyuubi's distracted state by rushing at the fox. He cocked his hand back. "Fuuten, Senpuken." Kyuubi did not even raise his head as he proceeded to slap Naruto's wrist before the blonde even struck him, breaking it in the process. "Arg!" Naruto grunted out as he jumped back. His wrist felt immensely painful and he could do nothing but nurse it the only way he knew how. Kyuubi finally looked at Naruto. He raised an eyebrow as he watched the blonde nurse his wrist. "Did I do that?" He made a show of seeming confused. "You poor thing," Naruto hissed in pain and anger. He looked back and was shocked to discover that his clones, his backup, had disappeared in a plump of smoke. "Now, who's going to fight your battles for you?" Kyuubi mocked gleefully. "Ah!" Naruto's charge was filled with fury and desperation. It was all or nothing. Kyuubi's right arm shot forward and grabbed Naruto's throat. Naruto tried prying himself out of the Kyuubi's grip but it was useless. Kyuubi brought the blonde within an inch of his face and proceeded to whisper, "You know what? The whole if one of us dies we both do is a theory anyway. I'll figure out another way out of this place, but first." Naruto's eyes shot open as he felt Kyuubi's sword impale his abdomen. He stiffened and looked into condescending blood-red eyes. "I hope you enjoy the afterlife. He he he. Ha 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 ha." Those were the last words Naruto heard before his vision was engulfed in complete darkness. MHMHM. He could hear muffled noises, but he could not distinguish what the sound was. MHMHMMHM. There it was again. All Naruto could see was black. Was he really dead now? Kyuubi really did a number on him. The only good thing that he could think of was the fact that he died fighting. But what now? He was dead, right? For some reason it did not seem that way. MHHMHHM. What the hell was that sound? It was starting to annoy him. Couldn't he spend the rest of his afterlife in peace? He had a miserable childhood, bad parents, and he was the most hated and loathed individual in Konoha. At the very least this place would finally give him the solace and contentment that he longed for. MMMHHMHBM. Up Naruto would have thrown his hands in the air if he could move. He decided to concentrate on the sound again. Up. Make up. He was starting to hear it more clearly. It was a voice. A very feminine voice and it seemed to be calling to him. He groggily opened his eyes. He was very shocked to see that he was still in the mindscape. Didn't he die? This didn't make any sense. And here I thought I actually killed you. Naruto looked to his side and saw Kyuubi's female form, which was kneeling and looking at him in something akin to relief. He quickly scrambled away from the girl, fear overtaking his sense of logic. The girl was Baijiu and she had proven very capable of killing him. The fact that he was alive at all was very alarming. Oh, relax. I'm not going to hurt you. Upon seeing the disbelieving look, Kyuubi continued, and besides, you're alive right now, aren't you? Naruto continued to stare at Kyuubi in bewilderment. Kyuubi sighed and rolled her eyes. Now that you've gotten all that anger out of your system, do you feel better? Naruto was frozen in place, but after some time he actually analyzed her inquiry. Now that he thought about it, he felt a lot more calmer than he did before. He looked down and noticed that his body didn't have a scratch and his wrist was just fine. This whole situation was too confusing, however, so all he could was offer a numb nod. Good. Kyuubi chirped and got to her feet. What the hell? Naruto finally blurted out. What's the matter now? Kyuubi asked, raising an eyebrow. Naruto was too lost to answer. Kyuubi sighed. Look, you were angry and irrational. I felt it was better letting you vent that anger instead of keeping it inside. Kyuubi shrugged her shoulders. So all this was for me to vent out my anger? Naruto questioned with wide eyes. Was it really possible that he was the container of a demented fox? Pretty much. Kyuubi scratched her face and her mouth formed a whimsical smile. Although killing you was its own reward. You're very disrespectful and rude. Naruto scowled. Are you kidding me? Kidding? Kind of. Serious? Maybe so, Kyuubi proclaimed with a thoughtful pose. Why aren't I dead? Naruto settled for knowing facts instead of succumbing to Kyuubi's mind games. Because I never killed you. Remember when I told you that if one of us died then the other would join? Well, that's true actually. The only way for me to be free from you is through extraction. Kyuubi looked at her outfit and frowned. God, this is ugly. She snapped her fingers and a new, more accentuating, kimono appeared. Oh, that's way better. Males really have bland taste. Why are you a girl again? Naruto asked more calmly. It didn't seem like Kyuubi was going to attack him, so he decided to just wing it and see what would transpire. I like being female. Kyuubi looked at her body, analyzed her outfit and then continued, I'm not sure why, but I think this suits me more than a male image. Maybe it is because I've only ever been sealed in females until I was sealed into you. You were sealed before? Naruto asked in surprise. Yep. Look, about the incident 12 years ago. It really wasn't my fault. I never meant for any of that to happen, Kyuubi said honestly. Then why did you attack Konoha? Naruto asked. I was being controlled by a man wearing this weird mask. I didn't know what I was doing until it was too late. Why should I believe that? Naruto quarreled. Because I'm telling the truth. I give you my word, that's not good enough. Naruto quickly cut her off in stride. After everything that I've been through I just can't trust anyone. I could show you what happened, Kyuubi offered quietly. What do you mean? Naruto asked with a frown. I have the power to channel my memories as well as yours into visual aspects. I can show you what really happened that night. The real reason your parents abandoned you. I could show you the truth in a nutshell, if you're willing. Kyuubi was a bit nervous for two reasons. The first being the fact that Naruto could really end up hating her for what she was about to do, and the other would be the fact that her offer could backfire indefinitely with disastrous results. How will I know if it's the truth? Naruto questioned with narrowed eyes. This time Kyuubi huffed and frowned in annoyance. You'll just have to trust me. If you're going to be living a life where you can't find it in yourself to trust anyone, then you will never get anywhere. Just this once, put your trust in me, that's all I'm asking for. Don't you want to know why your parents did what they did? Why are you doing this? Naruto finally asked. Simple, you humans make mistakes all the time, but there is always two sides to a story. I'm just tired of this constant on and off thing with your family. It affects the mindscape and makes me feel uncomfortable. At least this way you could better choose whether you like them or hate them without pause, Kyuubi said. Naruto thought about. He had always wanted to know the reason why his parents chose to abandon one of their children. So his decision was made quite swiftly. I hope you're not lying to me, Naruto said seriously. I give you my word as a Baijiu that everything you'll see will be the truth. Kyuubi made sure he knew how serious she was. Naruto mentally prepared himself and then looked at Kyuubi again. Show me, please. Alright. Kyuubi waved her left hand and a large orb appeared in front of them. I hope you're ready. Here we go, Kyuubi said as she and Naruto were both engulfed in white. Minato woke up groggily. He looked outside the window of the Namikaze estate and could already tell that it was a bit late into the morning, well more late than he usually woke up. He looked around tiredly and suddenly realized that Kushina was not next to him in bed. That's when he remembered that she was on a mission with her children. He got out of bed and proceeded to do his morning routines. He got out of the main bedroom and went downstairs. He passed the living room and approached the kitchen. When he made his way inside, he was treated to the sight of Aki feeding Narumi. Aki had been making baby faces and blowing air, all which seemed to be making Narumi giggle cutely, before feeding the girl with a spoon of food. Minato smiled at the sight. Narumi was always a bundle of joy. Aki suddenly noticed him and quickly stopped her actions before bowing in respect to the Hokage. "Good morning, Minato-sama," Aki said respectfully. "Hi, Tosan." Narumi greeted enthusiastically. "Come on, Aki. There's no need for all that high and mighty stuff. We welcomed you into our family. You don't need to act like you're beneath us," Minato said with a grin. "You are very generous, Minato-sama, thank you." Aki did not stop her respectful actions at all. Minato sighed and then shook his head before muttering, "Don't mention it." He turned his sights to his little daughter and saw her looking at him curiously. "What is it, Musume? Is there something troubling that cute little mind of yours?" Minato cooed gently. Narumi initiated a thinking pose and then asked her question. "Where is Ni-san and Ne-chan?" "They're gone on a special mission with your Ka-san," Minato said. "Oh." Narumi frowned and then looked at her father again. "I couldn't feel them." To anyone else this would just be the random antics of a 3-year-old girl, but to Minato he knew something else must have been going on. Narumi was very random at times, as should a curious child, but something about what she said did not make sense to the Hokage. "Feel, Narumi-chan?" Minato asked confusedly. "Yeah. When Ni-san and Ne-chan are close, I feel this big thingy," Narumi said as she stretched her little arms at either side of her body. "Big thingy? Like what?" Minato inquired curiously. Like. Narumi looked around, trying to find anything that could help her explain her meaning. However, when all looked hopeless, Narumi frowned and pouted her lips. "I don't know. It's just that I always feel this big thingy a lot. Ne-chan and Ni-san have it." Alarm bells were already going off in Minato's head. There had always been a mystery surrounding Narumi, such as her knack to randomly seem serious and then playful in an instance. Her intelligence was also something very alarming. The girl could understand a lot of things with very little effort. The sudden revelation that she could feel her two siblings only added to the mystery that was Narumi. Minato knew that this was connected to the Kyuubi somehow, but he just couldn't fully grasp what it meant. For now, he could only chalk it off to something that he would have to deal with later, but his daughter was very important to him, so he thought a little on what she told him. Narumi's frown quickly turned into a giggle as Aki resumed feeding her. "Here comes the next one, Narumi-chan." Aki cooed softly and proceeded to gently feed the girl. Minato was still in deep thought, however. Narumi had shinobi qualities, not all but some. It was still very confusing how his daughter behaved sometimes. No, he would have to deal with this later. I have to go now. I'll see you later, Aki, Musume," Minato said as he kissed Narumi's forehead and started making his way to the front door. "Bye-bye, Tosan," Narumi shouted when she saw her father leaving. Minato made his way out of the Namikaze estate and walked on the streets of Konoha. He didn't have to worry about the council. Sarutobi had informed him that the interrogation of the council members had been completed and the results would be in his office. All Minato had to do was check the results and decide a justifiable punishment to those who deserved it. He walked at a leisure pace. Some people looked at him with trepidation and respect, others looked at him in guilt and sadness. He ignored every single one of them. It would serve them right to suffer, and although it isn't as much as he hoped, it was still some sort of justice. Flashback. It had been 3 hours since Kushina's departure and Minato felt like he prolonged the villagers' suffering long enough. He had ordered all villagers to come to the Hokage Tower. It did not take long for the whole village to gather around there. Many already had an inkling on what would transpire in the next few minutes. Most were dreading Minato's appearance, while others could only hope that whatever the Hokage chose as their punishment would not hinder any of their financial growth. They already knew that he wouldn't kill them all. He couldn't, reason being he was selected by this very village to be their leader. He was their Hokage. He could not kill them, for he was their protector. Oh yes, they knew full well that he could punish them, but they were also aware that those things came and left in due time. A measly punishment that would last a month or two was better than death. They waited for a while and some were starting to lose patience. No one would dare voice out their frustrations under the fear that it would possibly end very badly for them. Minato finally made his appearance at the top of the tower and looked at the villagers with cold and calculating eyes. He was too far for most villagers to see him perfectly, but those who could shuddered at the cold visage of the Hokage. "Well, now that we're all here, I bet you're wondering what punishment I have for you people," Minato said seriously, deciding to get straight to the point. "Please, Hokage-sama. Some of us are innocent. Some of us have not put one finger on your son, a random villager said. Minato regarded the man for a moment and then replied, I know that. I've done my research, so for those of you who didn't do anything, I cannot hold you responsible for Naruto's suffering, but it doesn't mean I find you redeemable either. You ignored my child in his time of need, Minato said. We're so sorry, Hokage-sama. We didn't know that he was your child. A woman in the crowd said. Anger flashed in Minato's eyes at that. How dare you? It should not have mattered whose child Naruto was. He still should have been treated like any other person. In fact, he should have been treated like a hero, not filth. He is the container of the QB, not the demon reborn. Your blatant acts of stupidity and ignorance are unforgivable, Minato snarled. The villagers kept silent as the shock of what Minato said hit them. It was the classic kunai sealed in a scroll predicament, and Naruto was the scroll. How could they forget such a simple lesson? Things were looking even worse for them now. I have thought long and hard about this and I am ready to give my verdict, Minato said as he took out a piece of paper. The villagers waited with bated breath for their fates. Minato cleared his throat and started. Since I am Hokage of this village, I cannot make harsh decisions that could be detrimental to Konoha's progress. I can't inflict death to any villager that I have sworn to protect. So I found an alternative, Minato said as he looked down at the villagers. Before I begin, I will have you know that this is just punishment for your prejudiced beliefs in what a Baiju is. You have committed crimes against a child for 12 years and that demands compensation. The villagers looked on confusedly. My first verdict is that all shinobi, clothing and food stores that have committed unfair conduct on Naruto will have to pay a monthly fee of half their profits to Naruto Uzumaki himself. Specific shinobi stores such as Getty and Kemu will close indefinitely for selling defective equipment that would have resulted in shinobi losing their lives, Minato said seriously. What? I have never sold any defective equipment, Getty screamed from within the crowd. Me too. Kemu pleaded her case. Minato growled. Do not mistake me for an idiot. According to reports compiled from Mionbu and Sarutobi himself, you have each sold used or broken kunai and shuriken to Naruto Uzumaki, during his training in the academy, Minato said. The two store owners kept their mouths shut. There was no use in arguing against the irate Hokage when the evidence rang true. The second verdict. All involved in riots or beatdowns of Naruto will be taken into custody. Now, I will not throw you in prison. He saw some villagers smile in relief at that, but he was far from finished. But you will be subjected to torture of sorts. It will only be done to one person at a time and randomly at that, so you will never actually know when it's your turn to face justice. There was an uproar of complaints at that, but Minato continued undeterred. Inoiki has agreed, more like he was forced, to subject those who are found guilty of nearly, repeatedly, killing Naruto to a taste of their own medicine. You will view Naruto's memories, everything you put him through, in the span of a few weeks. You will see every torture method that you used on him. You will feel the pain that a child had to go through for 12 years because of pig-headed ignorance. The only possible way for this to stop for you is by earning my son's forgiveness. Which Minato knew would never happen. This could only work if Naruto came back soon. However, since Inoiki needed to take the memories from the blonde, Minato could see the horror dawning on their faces at the prospect of being tortured. Duff. It was a shame he couldn't do anything to the people who ignored his son's plight. He would just ignore his former friends. However, they ignored his child, so they didn't deserve his forgiveness or time, unless it was for professional reasons. Flashback end. It was lot due too, but it had been done. Getty and Kemu had closed shop and all he had to do was wait until the end of the month to receive Naruto's payment from other stores. He could see that most villagers were on edge. Well, they should be. As soon as Naruto came back, Minato was fully prepared to begin his torture. But for now he had other matters to deal with. Minato was so deep in thought that he accidentally bumped into someone. He looked down and saw a little girl on the ground. He analyzed her features carefully and that's when it hit. Oh geez, I'm sorry. He helped the girl to her feet and continued, Hinata, right? Hinata looked up and her eyes widened when she recognized the current Hokage. It did her very little good that Minato reminded her so much of Naruto. Sorry, Hokage-sama. Hinata squeaked and hurriedly bowed. No sweat. I wasn't watching where I was going. Minato eased the girl. Naruto has told me a lot about you. She likes you very much. She's on a mission with her brother. She'll be back in a few days at most. Hinata started playing with fingers and looked down when her blush started forming. Hinata started to stutter incoherently. Her body started swaying from side to side. Whoa, are you okay? Minato asked in concern. It was at that moment Hinata lost consciousness. Minato looked at her in surprise and then looked around. Well, you may be Hitomi's daughter but you sure act differently. I hope it's nothing serious. Minato picked up Hinata and started heading towards the hospital. He arrived at the hospital and submitted the girl to a room. He knew it wasn't something serious, but he wasn't taking any chances. Hokage-sama? He looked around and noticed a short nurse looking anywhere but him. She was very nervous, Minato thought. Well, obviously. It was no secret that Minato was angry at Konoha. The villagers however could not hold it against him since his anger was justified. As long as he treated the village like a leader should, then the villagers knew they did not have a say in his judgments. What is it? Minato asked in annoyance. The nurse squeaked and replied timidly, Jiraiya-sama has awakened from his, condition. The girl had caught herself before announcing Kushina's participation in Jiraiya cuts and bruises. She did not want to anger Minato any further. What a coincidence. A dark look formed over Minato's face. Which room is he in? Jiraiya looked outside the window of the hospital with a foregone expression. When he first woke up in this place he was confused to the fact that he had severe bruises and numerous wounds on his body, but he soon remembered the reason. He just knew that Minato and Kushina were not finished with him, Kushina more so. He had seen a lot of things that would give anyone lesser traumatizing nightmares, but the unbridled rage he saw in the mother's eyes will forever haunt him. Kushina looked very crazed when she beat the living hell out of him then. He breathed out a sigh. He did not even make to move as he heard the door open. Look, I told you that I'll be fine. I've been through worse, Jiraiya said. I can't really say that's good to hear. Jiraiya turned away from the window and looked into burning azure irises. Hey, Minato. You here to finish the job or something? Jiraiya inquired half-heartedly. Minato glared at his former sensei. I'll leave that to my wife. Right now I want answers. I figured you would. Jiraiya nodded and motioned to a nearby chair. Take a seat. I'd rather stand, was Minato's emotionless reply. Suit yourself, Jiraiya shrugged. So what should I answer first? What exactly happened when Kushina and I left Konoha? Minato asked seriously. Concerning Naruto? Jiraiya questioned rhetorically. Well, a few things. Sarutobi made a speech on your death and announced that the kid was the container of the Kyuubi. After that people seemed to take it in stride and ignored us, which was fine since Tsunade and I didn't really know many people within Konoha, Jiraiya said. Continue, Minato commanded with narrowed eyes. Okay, let's see. Tsunade and I started taking care of Naruto as agreed. We took care of him for a few weeks in a secluded area that was a bit away from the village. Jiraiya suddenly tailed off with a frown, as if what he said next could very well get him killed. And? Minato demanded in anger as he slowly approached his sensei. He was slowly getting to the truth and he refused to let Jiraiya just clamp up and remain silent. One day I came home and saw no trace of Tsunade. She was gone. The only person to have seen her leave the village was Sarutobi and even he didn't know the reason to it. We never heard from her again. I tried, I really did, to look after Naruto. Jiraiya gulped and then looked at Minato seriously, but with the threat of the masked man coming back to Konoha and with my spy network operational at a very far distance, I had little choice. Little choice. Minato came close and gripped Jiraiya by the scuff of his shirt and hauled the man up to his feet. How stupid could you be? How could you just up and leave Naruto like that? All because you had a sense of obligation to Konoha? Minato screamed in fury. The protection of the Leaf Village is important, Minato. It's our home and, Jiraiya was cut off with a straight punch to his face. You chose the Leaf over Naruto? After you promised to look after my son? After you sent us monthly lies about Naruto's life? You fucking bastard. Minato snarled. Jiraiya wiped the blood off his face and glared back. I left the kid in the same orphanage that you grew up in. It would have been beneficial in his upbringing and taught him responsibility like it did you. How was I supposed to know that people hated Naruto? Jiraiya realized that he must have said something very idiotic as he felt Minato's chakra flare. Jiraiya's eyes softened. I'm sorry for what happened. It was a stupid decision I made and I should have been there more. We're human, Minato. We all make me. Don't say any more or we'll kill you, Jiraiya, Minato gritted out. He couldn't believe this. No wonder Naruto didn't want anything to do with them. Then Minato thought of something else. What happened to all the presents that we would send every month? Who did those presents go to? They were all addressed to Naruto, so who would take them? Jiraiya shrugged again. I'm not sure, I wasn't around Konoha, remember? Minato's breath was haggard at this moment. This was a nightmare. How? What could he do? It was as if the universe was telling him that there was no way to fix the situation with Naruto and his family. The more looked into Naruto's past, the worse the answers would reveal. He felt sick to his stomach. Naruto had every single right to hate their guts. He couldn't stop the tears as they started to fall. He looked at Jiraiya with hatred. You stabbed us in the back and now look. Everything is a mess. This whole thing is a mess. Kami, I'm a horrible father. I didn't even make an effort in seeing Naruto once throughout his childhood. Minato just let the tears stream down his face as he looked on with empty eyes at nothing in particular. Jiraiya grimaced when he witnessed Minato breaking down in front of him. Everything seemed hopeless for them all. "I'm sorry, Minato. I really wish I could amend my mistakes," Jiraiya said sadly. He meant his words. He did not want to die as an old man with many regrets, and leaving Naruto to this village was one of them. "It's too late to apologize. Besides, I'm not the one you should be apologizing to. I just can't help but despise you, Jiraiya. What on earth did you think leaving Naruto to grow alone would do?" Minato hissed with rage. Jiraiya looked down and started. "You turned out great. I was going to come back when Naruto was at the right age and train him. It would have also given me a good idea if Naruto was really the child of prophecy," Jiraiya said. Minato stood up and wiped away the tears. He looked at his former sensei monotonically. "To think that you would stoop so low as to put little effort in Naruto's upbringing because of a stupid prophecy? You owe Naruto a lot for neglecting him. You will make it a point to earn his forgiveness at any cost. As of now our relationship will only be on professional terms." "Please Minato, I'm sorry. I never thought that things would turn out this way." "The only person you should be focused on is Naruto," Minato retorted. "What about Kushina? Do you think she would let me come near Naruto?" "That's not my problem. Aside from that, I want to know where Tsunade is," Minato said seriously. Jiraiya frowned. "I told you that I don't know, but you have the best chance at finding her," Minato deduced. "Yes," Jiraiya said. He was truly sad to realize that Minato most probably hated his very presence. He wanted to make things right between them. He didn't want to lose one of his closest friends, so he was prepared to do anything he could to make amends if it came to it. He cursed himself so much for being careless. He could have at least put a spy to look out for Naruto, but in his haste he had forgotten completely. "Then you will find her and bring her here when you're admitted out of the hospital," Minato said as he started walking away. "Is there any chance that you could ever forgive me?" Jiraiya hurriedly asked. Minato did not turn to face him. "To be honest, I'm not sure. Don't put any hope into Kushina however. She'd rather die than even consider forgiving you. Like I said before, the only person you should be focused on and making things right with is Naruto, not us," Minato said and promptly left the troubled Sannin. Jiraiya sighed in sadness. It was not going to be easy getting involved in Naruto's life, but if he ever hoped to fix anything then he had no choice. "Kid's gonna be pissed." Jiraiya couldn't help but grin at that. "Attack the demon!" A shinobi yelled as he rushed into battle to help his comrades. Naruto looked around and could see a lot of shinobi running in one direction. One particular shinobi seemed as if he would bump Naruto, to which the blonde put his hands in front of himself to block the impact, but the person just phased through him and continued to rush into battle. "They are not real, remember? They're just memories," Kyubi said from next to him. She looked up as a random shinobi came flying and hit a building above them with a sickening crunch. Naruto winced, but Kyubi laughed. "That never gets old," Kyubi laughed out. Naruto looked at her weirdly. Was she serious? He decided to focus on something else and looked at the visible vicinity. It was Konoha, that was certain. The place looked so detailed and precise, everything in place where it should be. Naruto scowled and turned his attention to his companion. "What?" Kyubi asked when she noticed his glare. "You said that you could show me both our memories. If that's so then how is this possible? Shouldn't we be seeing just our memories from my view instead of like this?" He gestured to their ghost-like forms. "These hardly looks like memories that you and I could see from this perspective." Kyubi thought about that then soon shrugged. "I'm not sure how it's possible. Perhaps this Hinigami was involved in creating this kind of view, but I can assure you that this is what happened that night." "How can you be so sure?" Naruto curiously quarreled. "Because I've seen these memories over and over again. They play out the same way and show the same thing. Most of which I remember happening," Kyubi said. "Most?" Naruto raised an eyebrow. "Yeah. I couldn't have been at every single place at once, but the areas that I have been played out the same memory as I remember happening. So I know it's true, simple as that," Kyubi said with a shrug. Naruto's mouth formed frown at that. How on earth was he supposed to believe what he saw was the truth then? "You'll just have to trust me," Kyubi said with a roll of her eyes. Naruto grumbled under his breath. He had forgotten that Kyubi could read his mind. Kyubi looked around and her mouth formed a thin line as she saw so many dead bodies. "Let's go closer to the battle." She started walking immediately. Naruto had seen the reaction and he could not help but stare at the Kyubi incredulously. She seemed to have a knack of changing from sadistic to compassionate in a blink of an eye. Maybe it had something to do with her being a human? Naruto shook his head and started following her deeper into the memory. Roar! Naruto looked up and was treated to the sight of the huge nine-tailed fox as it attacked the Hidden Leaf village. He looked between the Kyuubi as a girl and the demon fox decimating his village. To think that the two were one and the same. Yep, he would believe that. Come on. We have to hurry. Kyuubi suddenly said as she broke into a sprint and headed straight for herself. Naruto soon followed her lead and broke into a run to catch up with her. As they approached the towering figure, Naruto could see his father as he battled someone wearing a mask. Said person had taken a little baby hostage, it seemed. Who is that? Naruto asked as he gestured to the masked man, the person responsible for this whole mess. He calls himself Madara, or at least that's what he said before taking control of me, Kyuubi said with a scowl. Who's he holding? Naruto questioned further. That's you kid, Kyuubi said after a pause. Hey! We're the same age, Naruto shouted in irritation. Only in physical human appearance, Kyuubi replied easily. Naruto just looked away from her and focused more on the memory that was playing out. He watched on as his father battled Madara to save him. He continued to watch on as the memory played along. He watched Kyuubi as it continued its rampage. He watched on as his parents put their bodies on the line to save their children. He even watched as Minato sealed the Kyuubi into him, and it seemed that he had done the same to Naruto as well, which was interesting. He viewed his parents as they lay bloodied and bruised, holding their children in a protective embrace, as if their very own lives had no meaning to them other than to protect their kids. Naruto looked away at that. This had to be a lie. There was no way that it could be true. Don't turn away. You have to watch the whole thing, Kyuubi scolded. Naruto glared at her but did as she commanded and continued to watch the memory. He watched as his parents neared death and started cooing lovingly to both Naruto and himself, whispering softly to them. Naruto's eyes burned, but he forced back any emotion that he felt at the sight. He watched as his parents were healed by a blonde pigtailed woman while an old man looked around as if to make sure that no one was around. The group soon started to converse and Naruto felt like it was the perfect time to hear what was being said. He approached them and things started to become clearer. To prevent this from happening again, the guy just disappeared without a trace. It was as if he never came here in the first place. We will be more prepared, but we have to take precaution, the old man said. You're right, Sensei. He infiltrated Konoha without anyone noticing and extracted the Kyuubi from my wife after she had given birth, Minato said as he held Naruto. Wait, wouldn't that result in Kushina's death? The blonde woman asked in surprise. I was thinking the same thing, Tsunade, but for some reason here I am, Kushina said with a tired smile as she held Naruto. Maybe it was the way the masked guy extracted the Kyuubi out of her body. Do you remember anything of that, Kushina? The old man asked. All I remember is pain, Jiraiya, Kushina said with a frown. That's all. Just great, Jiraiya sighed and then turned to Minato. This is bad, Minato. That man's attack was nearly flawless and he knew exactly what he was looking for. If his reasoning for attacking Konoha was its destruction, then he did a pretty good job in coming close. I know. He knew exactly where to go without being detected, and it's obvious now that his main objective was the Kyuubi, Minato said. Something tells me he's not done with Konoha or us, Kushina said worriedly as she looked at her babies. You always have a knack of attracting the worser kind of enemies, Minato, Tsunade said with shake of her head. But I don't even know the guy. Minato protested. Does it matter? You're the one who is well known around the elemental nations and that's all it takes, Tsunade said evenly. You're right, Minato said sadly. Oh Kami, our children were nearly killed, Kushina said. That's not the only problem at this point, Minato said. What are you talking about? Tsunade said. Notice a big red demon fox missing? I think I found a way to alter the Shikifujin in separating the Baiju's soul from its very own chakra. I sealed the chakra into Naruto and the soul into Naruto. Theoretically the result should have been my death, but I think since I performed a different version of Shikifujin my life was spared, Minato said. I knew you were a genius, but this? Even I have to admit I'm impressed, Jiraiya said in shock. Are you sure that's what you did? Kushina asked in concern. I'm positive. I saw the soul and chakra separate from each other before sealing them into Naruto and Naruto, Minato said confidently. My poor babies, Kushina said sadly. Since I separated the two key aspects that make a Baiju whole, then I don't think the Kyuubi can be extracted without both children being present when it happens, Minato said. You mean, you need both kids together to get the Kyuubi? Tsunade asked. Yes. In theory anyway. Minato looked at his wife seriously. That man might come back and try the same thing again. That could end badly for Naruto and Naruto. We can't stay here if that is the case. You want us to leave Konoha? Kushina asked in surprise. Yeah, it's the only way to protect the village and the children. That man could come after us for the children, and since he will need both kids to release the Kyuubi, then I hope you're not suggesting what I think you're suggesting, Kushina hissed suspiciously. I'm sorry Kushina-koi, But we can't take both children with us. No. I am not leaving any of my babies. What the hell are you thinking, Minato-kun? Kushina shouted angrily. Hear me out. We won't be leaving anyone alone. Jiraiya and Tsunade can look after and train one while we groom the other, Minato said and shrunk as Kushina fixed him with a withering glare. They are not objects to just experiment with. They're our children. Our children. Of all the ideas that you've come up with, Minato-kun, this is the worst. Minato's shoulders sagged. He began to see what she was talking about. He sighed. You're right. We'll just have to figure out something else. I support that idea, Jiraiya said. Everyone looked at the old man with wide eyes. You what? Tsunade inquired warningly. It's solid. Since Naruto and Naruto can't be near each other yet, then this is the best we can do. I think Naruto should stay. Don't start with that stupid prophecy garbage again, Kushina shouted angrily. No, it's not that. I just think that it would be the right thing to do. I'm his godfather. It wouldn't hurt. To hell with that. It is absolutely ludicrous. You can't make such a huge decision based on a half-assed belief that the children must be separated or that man would not only find them but release the QB as well. Tsunade fumed. We can't take any chances. If we make a mistake it could possibly result in Naruto and Naruto getting killed. Jiraiya argued. Exactly. What do you think would happen if that masked man came back and tried to take the QB from the child you left behind? It would still lead to the same result, Tsunade said. That's why we would be here. Minato and Kushina could protect Naruto and we could easily protect Naruto with the aid of Konoha. That man will not be a match for two Sannin. Jiraiya boasted. You're right, sensei. This way we can be assured that both kids will at least be safe and the QB cannot be freed, Minato said. I refuse. What the hell has gotten into you? Don't make me slap you, Minato. Kushina warned. Kushina-koi, we don't have much time to do this before people find out. It's the best that we can offer our kids at the moment. We won't be abandoning Naruto. He'll stay with Jiraiya and Tsunade. And we'll tell him all about you guys and what great parents you are, right Tsunade-hime? Jiraiya asked with a grin. This isn't right. This isn't right and you know it, Tsunade said seriously. We have little choice, Tsunade. Don't worry, he won't be in your care for too long. We'll be back for him when the time is right, Minato said. I can't leave him. Please Minato-koi, don't make leave him. I love him so much. Don't make me do this, Kushina pleaded as she looked at her son who was in her gentle embrace. Sochi-kun. I'm sorry Kushina-koi, but we have to. We'll be back for him soon enough, and we'll be a family again. I promise, Minato said with conviction. I just can't. He's my Sochi. Can't you see you're making this painful for me? Kushina looked at her husband with a sorrowful gaze. Minato's eyes softened. He understood what she was going through. It was really tough decision to make. He would never grow with us. He would never have that type of childhood that kids need. Can you really expect this to go in our favor? What if he grows to hate the parents that left him behind? I just can't deal with that. If you're so insistent in leaving for the safety of our kids and the village then, let me stay with him in Konoha, Kushina said. I would love that more than anything Kushina-chan, but Naruto will need you, Minato said. What do you mean? Kushina said. She only has the chakra of the QB. It's malevolent and malicious, adding to the fact that it does not have a soul and it will remain aimless with no focal point. Then Naruto could lose herself to the chakra indefinitely, Minato said. Kushina understood immediately what Minato was implying. You need my chakra chains. Minato nodded his head grimly. Then why don't you stay with Naruto? Kushina questioned. Because enemies would know that Minato's alive and they'll know that Naruto is his son. They'll come after the kid, no doubt about that, Jiraiya said seriously. Kushina's mouth formed a thin line as the dreaded news was given to her. Will they ever get a break? If you're going to leave Naruto here, then people should not know who his parents are. We can't have him live anywhere in Konoha where he could be an easy target either. Tsunade said. I own an estate just outside Konoha. No one else knows that it exists because of the genjutsu that I put on it. You could use that place as a home to look after Naruto and train him to be stronger, Minato said. You want us to train him? Tsunade questioned. Yes, I want you to teach him everything you know. I know you guys are very capable in making him a great shinobi, Minato said. This is so unfair, Kushina cried. Why do we have to do anything? We can just stay in Konoha and see how things turn out. Everyone understood that Kushina was falling into desperation. She loved her children and his Uzumaki family was very important to her. No one noticed that Naruto's eyes had briefly opened, and they were red. I'm really sorry, Kushina-chan, but for the sake of Konoha and our children we have to do what's right. It isn't easy for me either. I love Naruto and this is hard for me too. Kushina only whimpered as she looked down to her now sleeping son. The tears wouldn't stop. "Don't worry, Kushina. He'll be in good hands," Jiraiya said. "Promise me," Kushina whispered. "What?" Jiraiya asked. "Promise me, you'll look after him. You'll help him grow to be a responsible and loving boy. You'll tell him all about us and how much we love him. You'll train him to be the best shinobi he can be. You'll love him just as we do." Kushina was serious and made sure they knew it. "Yeah, sure. I promise," Jiraiya said, a bit confused in Kushina's behavior. Kushina turned to Tsunade. "I promise," Tsunade said, although her response was very unenthusiastic. Kushina looked at them for a moment and then nodded. "We'll send letters every month with presents for you to pick up. I want you to send us letters on Naruto's progress every month. If there are problems then you must inform us immediately. I don't want my Sochi to grow up alone or unwanted," Kushina said. "Yes," Jiraiya said in exasperation. However, Tsunade only looked away and thought. "Then we have an agreement," Minato said with a hint of excitement. "I really don't like this, but if you're right Minato then we can't endanger anyone," Kushina said and proceeded to repeatedly kiss Naruto's forehead. She looked at her son. "Ka-chan loves you." "And To-san loves you," Minato added with a grin as he rubbed Naruto's head. The image started to distort until the view changed and Naruto found himself back in the mindscape. He looked around in surprise. "Hey, what happened?" asked the frantic blonde. The rest of the memory was too boring to play. Kyuubi waved off and then looked at the boy again. "However, that's basically everything you need to know." Naruto looked down. The memory looked very real, but it could have easily been fabricated. "For goodness sake. You're really an annoying brat." Kyuubi paused and then started to giggle randomly. Naruto looked at the Kyuubi as if she grew a second head. "What's so funny?" "Be glad that you have me and you and not my counterpart," Kyuubi said. Naruto could only stare at the girl in bewilderment. Kyuubi sighed and decided to explain. "When your father tried to perform an alternative version of Shiki Fuujin he thought that he stripped my chakra from my soul. His intention were good, depending on how you look at it, but his theory was ultimately incorrect." She laughed at Naruto's lost expression. "What he did was not separate the soul from the chakra, but split the soul in half. Like I told you before my chakra is my soul. My yang chakra took a physical appearance before being sealed into you. My yin chakra took the form of pure chakra before being sealed into your sister, giving Minato the false pretense that he was able to separate by Jua chakra from its soul. So all that effort that your family made to distance Naruto from you was all in vain." Kyuubi laughed. Naruto glared at the fox. She seemed to have been taking some kind of sick pleasure from his suffering. She must be demented. Before he could retort however, Kyuubi continued. "Just be glad you have me, the yang chakra, the good kind, in you instead of the yin chakra." Naruto paused and processed her words. "The bad kind of chakra?" he inquired. "Yep. I kind of feel sorry for your sister," Kyuubi said with a straight face. Naruto had his doubts that Kyuubi felt any sort of sympathy towards his sister, but if this Kyuubi was crazy then he shuddered to think what Naruto's Kyuubi was like. He felt sorry for his sister. "Eh? You know I can read your thoughts, right?" Kyuubi asked as she promptly bonked the poor boy on the head. "Hey! You bitch!" Naruto cried out as he rubbed his head. "God, you're still irritating. I need to teach you some manners, among other things," Kyuubi said thoughtfully. That caught Naruto off guard. "What?" "I decided to take you under my wing and train you. I have centuries of jutsu and skills under my belt and since you desperately need it then I feel inclined to teach you. Don't ask me why because I don't know why I'm doing this," Kyuubi regarded distractedly. "Train me? Do you think that I believe that crap you showed me?" Naruto said incredulously. "Excuse me?" Kyuubi inquired warningly. "You heard me. My parents left me because they wanted me to be safe? They love me? My mother was your jailer before me? I have godparents that promised to take care of me? I was supposed to get presents and letters from them?" Kyuubi really despised that mocking tone that Naruto was using. What a load of bullshit. Kyuubi didn't respond. "I refuse to believe any of this crap. My parents left me for Naruto. The only reason that they're even trying to make an attempt at me is because their guilt has caught up to them, not because they love me." Naruto spat in anger. Kyuubi yawned and then looked at Naruto boredly. "Are you finished?" Even if that was true they still left in the end. How can I overlook that? They didn't even check up on me once. And now they think that they can just show their faces and everything will be alright. They thought that I'll be that happy idiot that would just love them straight off the bat. What a laugh, Naruto shouted. Kyuubi walked up straight to Naruto and slapped him hard across the face. Naruto fell on his butt. He looked up and gazed into blazing red eyes. "I don't give two shits if you love or hate your parents. I don't give a shit if you hate me. Hell, I hate your attitude right now. What I do give a shit about is this disgusting place that I will be calling my home for the rest of my life. Like I said before, your emotions affects the mindscape. Just look at this place. You made it like this, Kyuubi said as she motioned to the area. Naruto looked around and his eyes widened at the dreadful environment. This was his doing? Adding to the fact that you're a coward who won't even talk with his parents and move on with his life, then you can bet that I'm not in the happiest of moods. Naruto glared at her. She didn't know anything about him. Oh no, I know everything about you, Naruto. I've seen your pitiful life for myself, remember? Little baby's upset? Little baby's life was unfair? Little baby's gonna throw a tantrum? Grow up. Life isn't fair to anyone. You're not the only sorry excuse for a boy who had his childhood stripped from him. You're not the only one who suffered. Look at me. I'm in this dreadful place for the rest of my life and it wasn't even my fault. I have little chance of freedom and I can't change that. Here you are, with the perfect opportunity to rectify everything and move on. You can't even do that, right? Naruto was caught off guard with Kyuubi's tirade. He could not retort to anything. You know what? Fuck off. If this is the way you're going to be acting like, then I'm just wasting my time. And with that he was forcibly removed from the mindscape. Naruto slowly opened his eyes and looked around. He was laying on a couch. Good morning, Ni-san. Naruto looked to his side and saw Naruto, sitting on the opposite sofa. Morning, Naruto. What time is it? Naruto asked. It's still a bit early into the morning. Daz and I is going to leave for the bridge later during the day and we'll go with him for protection, but that's probably in the afternoon or something. Naruto stopped her rambling and then looked at her brother with adoration. Ka-san is all better. She said it was thanks to you. She's in bed resting. Naruto nodded his head when he processed the words. He had his doubts in trusting a random person for a cure to help Kushina, but it seemed that Haku had come through in the end. He would like to thank her, if he ever saw her again. He just knew there would be questions on where he acquired the cure. Those would be questions he had no intention in answering. Ka-san also said that when we get back to Konoha Team 7 will terminate. What? Naruto got to his feet in surprise. Team 7 will be no more? This was his only chance at being a shinobi and Kushina was going to take that away from him? So he disobeyed orders. It didn't mean that Kushina had to kick him out of the shinobi ranks. Okay, it did, but it was still unfair. Relax, Ni-san. We won't stop being shinobi. Naruto hurriedly cut in to ease her brother's fears. She knew what he was thinking, call it a twin sense, but she knew he did not want to end his career as a shinobi. Naruto sighed in relief at that. Ka-san told me that she will be taking the both of us with a new member while Kakashi will be taking Sasuke and Sakura, with an extra member of their own of course, Naruto said. Naruto was shocked to hear that. Just how much did he miss in his sleep? A thought suddenly inclined to Naruto and he got to his feet. He started making his way to the stairs. Ni-san? Where are you going? Sasuke and Sakura are training outside. We could join them, Naruto suggested. Naruto thought about it and shook his head. Sorry, but I have to talk to Kushina-sensei. About what? Naruto inquired tentatively. All I can tell you is that it's important. I can't say any further, Naruto said. Okay, I'll be outside if you need me. Like he would ever call for her help. Naruto did not like to depend on his family, so she didn't expect much of a response from her brother other than a nod, but she was surprised when Naruto said something that shocked her greatly. Thanks. I'll let you know. He left a flabbergasted Naruto as he made his way upstairs to face his mother. Naruto was walking at his leisure to Kushina's room. A lot of troubling thoughts dominated his consciousness. This rage that was bubbling inside was definitely not helping him at all with his endeavors. The more he analyzed things, the more he realized that he was slowly becoming something he tried his best not to, a hate-driven monster. He was a kid, bound to make mistakes and stupid decisions, but this was deeper than that. Emotions were very strong to control at times, especially anger. His brash attitude almost cost his team their lives, but he hadn't been interested in their well-being at the time. In fact, he was more interested in having one-up his neglectful mother. Looking back at the moment, Naruto couldn't help but grimace. Disobedience was never tolerated in the shinobi ranks. He was actually unsure of what his future really held at that point. This was ridiculous. Not long ago he wanted to be Hokage and look after Konoha as a leader should. Now all he could do was spend his days in aimless wonder, sulking on how unfair his life was and how his family made it worse. He should be upset. He had every single right to be, but he realized that the degree he reached was uncalled for. So what? What did they know? All they've been doing is forcing themselves on him, completely disregarding how he would feel about it. He sighed to himself. Yep, the rage was turning him sour. Ayame was going to be pissed. He shouldn't have made that promise to her in the first place. Maybe then things would be easier to handle. He could get angry if he wanted, lash out if he wanted, dish the much-needed justice that he needed to get off his chest, letting everyone know just to what level they screwed him over. Slowly, his mind traveled back to the conversation he had with the nine-tailed fox. It wasn't much of a conversation since they were mostly at each other's throats. He really felt like paying her back for the bitch slap she gave him. He subconsciously raised a hand to the initially burning cheek. Of course he felt no pain, but the apperception was still there. Shaking his head so as not to be distracted, he analyzed the conversation he had with QB. Some points she made were not fair, but he conceded to the fact that he might have pissed her off a little too well by denying her views of the past, his past. Still, she didn't have the right to force her shortcomings upon him. It wasn't his fault that she was sealed, it was Minato. No, Madara, if he heard right. His life would have been much better if that man wasn't involved in the QB attack, if QB's views were true. She was right about one thing though, he was being a coward. The anger had dwindled his beliefs, changed him from a boy who wanted to create a world of peace by showing how even in the hardest of situation, a good-natured attitude could prevail, to a boy on the path of some dark endeavor that presumably involved making his parents suffer. When had he lost his way? When everything he thought he knew turned out to be a lie, or when he allowed anger to flourish in his very being? Both seemed very accountable. He was just outside the room Kushina occupied. Taking deep breaths, he calmed his mind. No more, he needed to talk with the woman, lest he lost his mind the next time they had disagreements. But what should he say? Should he just walk in there and berate her for following such a ludicrous theory Minato sure as hell thought up, telling her she was nothing but fangirl who abandoned her family for nothing? No, his mind was much clearer now, since the fox had allowed him to vent, and subsequently slapped some sense into him. Spewing rage was the last thing he needed. He just wanted answers. He was still understandably upset. He really needed to get a few things off his chest. However, before he could open the door, it was done for him. "Oh, hey Naruto, is there something you need?" Kakashi said, stopping himself mere inches before he bumped the kid. Naruto stared in surprise at Kakashi's presence. "What are you doing in Kushina-sensei's room?" Naruto settled for. "I was just having a chat with her about a few things." "Is that why you're here, to talk to her?" Kakashi queried. Naruto nodded his head. "Yeah." "Alright, I'll leave you to it." "Oh, and try not to shout," Kakashi said gently. In the back of his mind, Kakashi still wanted to know how Naruto found out about his relationship with his former sensei, but put the thought away. No need to start another dispute. Naruto stood still as the foreboding room became significantly larger, or maybe that was just him. He steeled himself once again, and tentatively walked in the room, immediately spotting his mother. She was busy reading a scroll, her demeanor serious, her face firm and unwavering. Naruto wondered what would prompt such an expression. He took in her form. The bandage that covered her shoulder served as a reminder of his reckless actions. It filled him with confused anger. Why did she have to save him and make things even more complicated? Upon noticing someone's arrival, Kushina took a glance at the intruder, but when she realized who exactly was at the door, her features softened and attention immediately focused on her son. Fixing him with a warm smile, she tried to ease his nerves. "Hello, Naruto," she started as she noticed his poise. "Is there something wrong?" Naruto paused to stop a snide protest that was on the tip of his tongue. It wouldn't help him and he had enough of feeling like a jerk. Even so, he was still serious when he looked Kushina in the eye. "We need to talk." Kushina measured him for a second, valiantly hiding her surprise at the turn of events. She half expected him to rebuff her greeting, but this was the very first time that her son had actually initiated a personal conversation. "Sure, I'm always here if you need me." "You mean you're here now?" He wanted to exprobate, but chose to remain indifferent. Kushina saw the torn look for what it was. She understood, just talking to her must have been very difficult, so she gestured to the end of the bed, silently requesting he sat down next to her. Naruto paused a moment then did as asked. The only way this whole issue could be solved was if he just got it over with. The sooner the better. Kushina watched him approach her in silence. His movements were stiff and conjectural. She remained silent throughout however, allowing him to habituate to her presence on his own accord. Once Naruto was seated, it was Kushina who began. "So, what's on your mind?" Naruto remained silent a moment longer, fastidiously choosing his words. He had an inkling of what to say, just not how to say it, his innuendo largely absent. He was not going to let anger talk anymore however. This time, he would let his heart speak for itself. "Take your time," Kushina encouraged softly, finally realizing what the conversation was really about. He came to vent. And by Kami she would let him. "I don't know where to start," Naruto announced slowly, looking more astray as time ticked away. Picking up his withdrawal, Kushina felt it necessary to coax. "How about from the beginning?" Naruto looked at her, confused by her suggestion, but his eyes soon widened a fraction once he understood. "I'm not sure I should." "It's okay, Naruto," she hurriedly heartened, "you need this. Just say anything and everything you want. If you want to curse me then do so, if you want to tell me what a horrible mother I am, I won't stop you. Just don't hold back." Naruto did nothing but process her words. After some thought he nodded his head, took a deep breath and started. I grew up most of my life hated, beaten, cursed. The list just goes on actually. My life was a nightmare every day and night. I think it started when I was able to walk, that's what I can remember anyway, Naruto said, struggling to keep his emotions in check. Kushina remained impassive, already knowing that showing him visible sympathy would be the incorrect notion. He didn't like pity and she understood that his life hardened him, taught him on the different scheme as to take care of himself and survive. Sympathy was the last thing he needed, he would automatically perceive that as pity. I lived in the orphanage one time, before all the physical pain started, but it wasn't as if the stay was anything enjoyable. I was treated like crap, fed little to nothing, and talked down on with curses and promise of a lonely life. No one would ever adopt me, until that one day. His voice seemed to strain at the end and Kushina's breath caught in her throat. Naruto's adoption was never documented. When she noticed that he seemed to be struggling to speak, she pried further, albeit subtly. "You were adopted?" Naruto's eyes flashed with something Kushina could not discern, but only for a second. "Yes." Awkward silence reigned, but Naruto was at least compliant to continue. "She was a sweet woman, treated me really nicely when she came and visited the orphanage. After a few months of knowing her, she took me in." Kushina let him continue, knowing with dread that something of odious proportions was about to be revealed to her. Naruto looked at his mother with calculating eyes. "You sure you want to hear the rest?" There was an underlining of something there, but it was of little concern to the mother. "Yes," Kushina immediately answered, knowingly aware of the heart-wrenching pain she would soon experience. "Everything you're willing to let out." Naruto nodded in approval. "Fine. The woman took me in and treated me like a mother should, I guess. She bought me presents, hugged me a lot, let me go to the park. People would stay away from me when we went out and I didn't think too much of it since my mother was all I ever needed." Kushina carefully hid her jealousy of the other woman. Now was not the time, not now. Naruto first, jealousy later. "She always told me that she loved me. I was so happy, nothing else mattered to me." Kushina chose that moment to list all possible candidates that could have looked after her child other than this mysterious woman, knowing full well the plight he was subjected to: Kakashi, Minato's former student, Kurenai, her former student, Jiraiya, the bastard Sannin, Tsunade, the traitorous bitch. How could they all just leave him be, when they knew of everything? Well, Tsunade was an exception, but still. Was that it? Did she and Minato really mean that little to them? She mentally shook the thought and focused on her child. Everything was perfect, I was just an average kid with a single mother. But then? Kushina prompted, feeling her heart sinking ever so slowly. "Then my unfair life caught up to me. I was just sleeping, having this nightmare of someone attacking me. So, I quickly jumped out of my bed the moment I woke up, to ward off the nightmare, when I realized that I narrowly missed a knife aimed at my head. My own mother tried to kill me. All I did was stand there as she told me everything. She poisoned my food, she told the villagers how she would finally kill the demon. She hated my guts, her love was a lie." Kushina knew then and there that her son had experienced capacious amounts of betrayal. She silently raged, struggling to hold herself from screaming obscenities. She had to force herself to remain calm, find out all she could of this woman, and the first chance she got, she would hunt down that despicable bitch. I was too shocked to move. When she lunged, I took a stab to the chest before my senses came back to me. I ran as fast as I could to get away. I tried getting help but no one would aid me. The wound healed quickly, anything but comforting. The orphanage wouldn't accept me and I ended up on the streets. After that, you know the rest." Her eyes burned but she stubbornly refused to cry. "No, keep calm, this is not the time to weep like baby. She would do that later." "You see? That's my life in a nutshell. And you know what pisses me off so much? Is the fact that I grew up thinking you and my father were looking for me, only to find out that it was all bullshit." Naruto screamed, irate. Kushina was too stunned to speak. "Then out of nowhere you come back and expect me to welcome you. You actually had the gall to force yourself on me when I didn't want anything to do with you, like you were doing me a favor." Naruto spat. Kushina's shoulders sagged. "I'm sorry. It just pisses me so much that you think I'm this little kid who needs his mommy and daddy to show him the way, even after everything I've been through without you." Kushina nodded, no point in denying his claim when it was obviously true. "Why can't you just leave me alone? Haven't I been through enough? Upon realizing that the question wasn't rhetorical, Kushina hesitantly answered, "You're my blood, Naruto. Knowing everything you've been through, I'm sorry, but I just can't look the other way. I know my methods to be around you were selfish." Naruto chimed in. Kushina winced at that but conceded, somewhat. "But above all, I love you, and that's something I can change, no matter how much you want me to." "Have you even tried?" "No," Kushina said, defeated but resolute. "You may hate me for the rest of our lives but my love for you will never change. I'm more annoyed than hateful," Naruto revealed, uncertain of what else to talk about. Kushina nodded her head, as if somehow expecting those very words. "With everyone breathing down your neck, I could only guess to you troubles." Fixing him with a look filled with no hidden mirth, she continued, "I'm sorry for everything." "Well, I'm not sure you know what everything is," Naruto said slowly. This time her brows furrowed. "What do you mean?" She sounded bewildered and fearful at the same time. "What else has happened?" Naruto was feeling quite tired. All these different emotions were surely taking a toll and fatigue was the end result. But he didn't hold back. "I want you to tell me what happened that night." Seeing that she was languidly processing his words, he bluntly clarified, "When you left me." Kushina took in his words, her brain slow at first then swiftly changing to overdrive. The past had never abandoned her but she had filed it to the back of her mind. Bringing that fateful night to the forefront would definitely evoke bitter memories. Did it really matter if it was for one of her children? "Sure," she said, "I'll tell you anything I can remember." "Thanks," Naruto said. Courteous gratitude left his mouth before he could stop himself but he mentally waved it off to the heat of the moment. So Kushina explained everything, from her giving birth to him and his sister, to the fight with a masked figure claiming to be Madara. Naruto listened carefully to the latter, connecting the dots between his mother's point of view to the nine-tailed fox. The gap of contrast was fine, very fine. Everything made sense, and he knew then that if he stepped a foot in the mindscape to apologize, Kyuubi, or Kurama, wouldn't hold back in attacking him before he even opened his mouth. "That's basically everything I remember," Kushina said awkwardly. Through her entire explanation, Naruto remained silent. She didn't even see a hint of anger from him, more like recognition. Well, whatever it was, at least she was talking to him on a mutual level. "Is there anything else you want to know?" She felt keeping the conversation going, if only to finally bond with him in any way. She was right, Naruto murmured distractedly. He snapped out of it when Kushina asked who. "The Kyuubi. I went into the mindscape and saw the fox." Kushina blinked at him for a few seconds. Eyes bugging in surprise, she sputtered, "You saw Kurama?" Naruto fixed her with an incredulous stare. "Kurama?" he questioned. Kushina regained her composure, picking her words carefully. "The fox. Its name is Kurama." "Well, that was news to him, so then why is it called Kyuubi?" "It's a title we gave it." "Oh, what happened?" Kushina dependably queried. Naruto shrugged. "I raged and raged. He or she, or whatever, kicked my ass and then showed me what happened when you guys left me." Kushina frowned. "That's all?" This time Naruto's gaze was emotionless. "Did you know that the Shikifuujin Minato performed to separate Baiju'u and its chakra was a farce?" Alarm bells started to ring in her head. Just when things were starting to look remotely positive, she knew she wasn't going to like what she heard. "What do you mean a farce?" "A Baiju'u's chakra is basically the soul itself, so when Minato thought he separated the fox from its chakra, all he really did was split the soul in half, giving one half to me and the other to Naruto. That's what the fox told me. And if that's really the case then you really did leave me to a life of hell for literally nothing." At first Kushina remained silent, her face unmoving. Everything he said was starting to make sense. She had a greater understanding of seals than Minato. She should have known he couldn't create something so complex, no matter how smart he was. She really was a fool. She trusted Minato so blindly when she could have easily seen the action for what it was. Naruto had every single right to truly hate her. This time the poor mother couldn't stop the tears. They sluiced freely down her face. Her form started to tremble as choking sounds emitted from her mouth. She buried her head in her hands, a feeble attempt to hold back the heart-wrenching sobs that shook her core. Her heart bled, it really hurt so much, it was as if it was being ripped out of her at someone else's leisure. She did nothing but cry hard. Naruto grimaced when he saw his mother sob in front of him. They weren't on good terms, sure, but that didn't mean he enjoyed watching her like that. Another part of him, deeper in his subconscious, relished to see the proud Namikaze woman weeping for all it was worth. Yeah, he really needed help. "Hey! Stop crying," he said agnostically to the broken woman. Kushina didn't hear him. The world was deaf to her. Her life with her son was over. She couldn't stop herself from crying harder. "Oh, Sochi, I'm sorry." Kushina sobbed. Naruto didn't have it in him to stop her. "Please forgive me," she begged as her snivels continued. "Please forgive me, Sochi." Naruto frowned. "I'm not mad if that's what you think. Yeah, I was at first, but I've had time to think about it, and being angry for that won't change anything. I hope you realize that we can't be what you want us to be." Kushina latched her hands desperately to his. "Please. Let me be around you, even if you never call me Ka-san. Even if you never see me as family. I just love you too much. Please understand I can't lose you." "As long as you don't force yourself on me, then I can accept that," Naruto said, carefully prying his hands out of the woman's death grip. "I'll see you at breakfast." He soon left after the announcement. Kushina felt truly old. She felt like she had lost a part of herself. The tears still refused to stop, but she gave up in covering them. If only. If only she had trusted her gut instincts and taken her child with her. If only she had not listened to everyone involved on that night to Minato's claim. If only she had been a mother. Now, it seemed that it was too late. Her son was creating a distance she could never hope to bridge, all because of one careless mistake. The mother was feeling a lot of things: hurt, anger, betrayal. Why would Minato make such a ludicrous claim and then come up with an even more ludicrous proposal? Better yet, why would she accept it? Leave their child behind? What kind of parent would do that? A real parent would have taken their child with them. Just pity the now superficial risks. Her trust in Minato had been significantly dwindled. Oh, yes, she was upset with him, furious even, but at that moment she was too stunned to even move. So she sat there, with the occasional choke of a sob, contemplating, a series of ruminations dominating her consciousness. That's the end, guys. If you enjoyed, then make sure to leave a comment. This is Chaos Shinobi signing off.